What is up, Truth and Transparency? The ultimate betrayal. The community reacts. Well, Judge Hippler, we couldn't make any phone calls due to his voicemail being full. So we are able to send a letter. And this is our letter. If you're part of the Truth and Transparency community, you're part of it. Dear, let's see what happened here. What the heck is this thing doing? Here we go. Dear Judge Stephen Hippler, where the fuck do we begin? First, my name is Lana Oriani, and I am a self-proclaimed investigative journalist who believes in a couple of good sayings. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. More doors are open with pleas than keys. And there is no such thing as a stupid question, so always ask the question. Now consider these questions before deciding on whether or not to accept the plea deal for Mr. Kohberger. 1. Why did Latah County Prosecutor's Office seek the death penalty in the first place? The answer should be that it fits the crime and it is within the law. The circumstances of the murders explain the reason. If the death penalty was sought for any other reason other than justice, then the prosecution of Mr. Kohberger commenced under a misleading premises. Since the circumstances of the case have remained unchanged since 2022 to present day, it raises the question of why a plea deal was even a consideration. 2. Is it ethical to employ the death penalty as a means to obtain last-minute plea agreements that compel defense attorneys to persuade their clients to accept? This approach seems coercive, motivated by fear rather than the pursuit of truth and justice. How is this practice considered legal? And how can a guilty plea made under such conditions maintain its integrity, especially when it involves waiving the right to any future appeal? Furthermore, should cases where a not guilty plea was initially entered by the defendant, but subsequently classified as a capital case within the time of the prosecutor's office seeking the death penalty, be permitted to even entertain such a future plea agreement? 3, is Brian Kohberger or anyone that would find themselves in his shoes deserving of a plea deal in a capital punishment case? If in fact Brian Kohberger is responsible for the brutal stabbings of 4 University of Idaho students at their home while asleep or about to be asleep. 4. Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow were not offered plea deals, or were they? It is difficult to be in the position of the victims' families and wonder if the murder of their child was worthy of zealous advocacy, similar to what was seen in JJ or Tylee's case regarding Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. How could a prosecutor decide that the circumstances surrounding a child's murder, anybody's murder, merit the death penalty, then almost 3 years later decide that the death penalty is negotiable right before the trial, where rumors can stop and transparency and closure can be provided through the documented process known to all of us as a trial? This raises questions about the consistency of prosecutorial decisions when comparing cases like Brian Kohberger's to those of Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow. How can a plea deal in a capital punishment case be the symbol of true justice for the victims within the United States of America criminal justice system? Utilizing the death penalty as a means to compel defendants' families to encourage them to accept plea deals in order to spare their loved ones from witnessing their execution may raise ethical concerns. It should raise ethical concerns. While the defendant may warrant capital punishment, should this approach be employed at the expense of creating additional victims? It is challenging to assert that the death penalty serves its stated purpose of legal retribution when it appears to be used for expedient procedural methods or worst case scenarios, like potentially in this case, to conceal governmental or prosecutorial misconduct. I may be a random person from Ohio who has talked so much mad shit about you and your hypocritical orders and your obnoxious mannerisms in the courtroom, but those do not come close to the unjust 11th hour plea deal that is exchanged between the parties this past weekend. A Franks hearing should have been granted in this case. However, this request was denied based on the information provided by Ashley Jennings, which was later found to be inaccurate. It is significant that the same prosecutor involved in the recent last-minute plea deal may have done so to bury the allegations of professional misconduct in this case, including that of the involvement with District Attorney Bill Thompson, furthermore interactions with FBI CAS expert Nick Balance, who allegedly accessed Brian Kohberger's TA records, time in advance records, for prior to drafting the PCA. This has raised some concerns that were going to be answered in a trial. The PCA document contained inaccuracies, leading to significant concerns about ongoing violations of professional conduct throughout these proceedings, resulting in potentially Kohberger's constitutional rights being compromised. The proposed plea deal allows the defendant, Brian Kohberger, to plead guilty without providing proof that he is indeed responsible for the murders of the 4 University of Idaho students, raising questions about whether he is simply a scared defendant coerced into this pleading by his attorney and loved ones. Consideration should be given to allowing such a plea deal only if Mr. Kohberger reveals critical information such as the location of the murder weapon or the disposal site of his clothing from the night of the murders. One would have to ask themselves, if you are truly trying to save or spare the victims and their families, why would you not offer this plea deal 2.5 years ago? You can't truly think this is for any other reason than a last-ditch effort at something nefarious, regardless of what it is. Less than 15 days ago, Mr. Kohberger's attorneys were pointing the finger at 4 unknown to the public perpetrators, alternative perpetrators. So then within 14 days after that, his attorneys are advising him to take a plea deal. This logically is unacceptable. The public has heard for the past 2.5 years that governmental officials have conducted themselves in ways that the public should be concerned. The public was looking for answers due to those concerns and fears of what's going on in our government. Those concerns will remain. Was the death penalty employed for the purposes of true retribution? That's the question. Should you be able to use the death penalty to leverage plea deals? I was really looking forward to meeting you, Judge Hippler, and taking a selfie. Keep up the sarcastic ass work and mannerisms. Signed, Truth and Transparency. There you go. Well, my reactions are pretty. I've had some time to think even in more, and I think there was so much reckless behavior over the past 2.5 years from both sides. If this is where it's ending up, um, I mean, you have judges calling expert witnesses conspiracy theorists without even ever hearing them out. You have the defense, obviously, I mean, daily in the filings talking about prosecutorial misconduct, talking about um, known falsehoods in the PCA. The behavior from both sides is truly unacceptable. So then both sides, right before the trial, to say we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a plea deal. I did the math. If Ann Taylor worked 10 hours per day for 5 days a week over the past 2.5 years, do you know how much money that is? Why would Brian Kohberger subject himself for the past 2.5 years to meet with expert doctors and mitigating and all of this stuff to then, okay, I've maintained my innocence and now I'm going to go ahead and accept a plea deal from somebody who was just arguing and pointing the finger at 4 other people doing this horrific crime? Do you understand that alone, a judge should have like a huge problem with that? Like wondering, like, okay, what the heck? The Kohlbergers are en route in Boise. We'll be there tomorrow. Um, we'll be live streaming it here an hour before. It says it's 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that's like 1 Eastern Standard Time, but we're going to start an hour beforehand. Um, you have the Chapins that are going to be showing up and they're supportive of the plea deal. You have the Gonsalveses that are going to be showing up that are going to, they're not supportive of the plea deal. And I just think that over the past 2.5 years, for somebody that was going to be advised to take a plea deal, does that negate anything that's transpired though over the past 2.5 years? Should Brian Kohberger? I think Brian Kohberger should have to say, "Hey, where's this murder weapon? If you really did it, hey, where's the clothing? Hey, that he didn't do this with anybody else." It doesn't make any sense that you would be taking a plea deal right now. And 2 weeks ago, that my lawyer was telling the judge that they just need a little bit more time to develop more stuff with our alternate perpetrators, but we just don't have enough. And now I'm going to go ahead and plead guilty. I think that that's reckless. I think that going. I mean, you said that multiple people killed the victims, multiple weapons, a cleanup job. None of that changes. That's what you say. You can't, as a lawyer, go and write in motions and say things to the tribunal that you cannot tell them. You have to be truthful, candor. With the tribunal, you can't just go and write and make stuff up that you can't do that. That's actually like part of your professional, your conduct. You can't do that. Both sides here, by the end result being a plea deal, it shows me that both sides have zero integrity, that something is amiss, something is wrong, something isn't right. Let's see what you guys have in chat to say about it. If something feels off, it usually is. Mayo. Shannon says, I say fuck the gag order. Why honor an order when literally none of the family's wishes have been upheld or considered? Who can investigate this crooked small town government? Rhodes says, he's guilty. Well, yeah, if I think of anybody in the situation when you have had 2.5 years worth of leadership and what would seem to be competent lawyer, a lawyer, that then you have to advise your client to take a plea deal after you just argued. But these other 4 perpetrators, like I just, Mama Hen says the good boys club. The good boys club. The good old boys club. Teresa says, I can't believe that even those who think he is guilty are not questioning this plea deal. WTF. 100%. That's why I wanted my letter to be about, it has nothing, this isn't, from the moment that Hippler received this case, the feel of it, in my opinion, changed. I mean, we literally had a prosecutor standing up in front of us saying, what does it matter that the probable cause affidavit is knowingly false? Wow. Like, when you feel like you can say those things in open court in front of America watching to a judge, that's entitlement. That's a sense of protection. That's a sense of like nothing can happen to me. And then the same thing if we want to say for, Brian Kohberger's defense team, he is innocent. He is innocent. And we're asking for more time and good faith because the discovery is, voluminous and yada, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And you're putting together great motions and you're showing that people were deleting phone calls. People were on their phones when they said that they were sleeping. People were saving contacts in their phones. We have people that have a history of meth abuse, door dashing, and then the door dasher gets pulled over and she's saying that she saw Brian. I mean, then we have a 911 call that happens 9 hours later. Then we have missing footage from Linda Lane. Then we have an arrest. We have DNA, touch DNA on a sheath. They use IgG. They don't tell anybody about it. Then there's male blood, 2 different profiles in the house. Nobody seems to care. You have the house being wrecked. You have the university buying the house to then wreck it. You have the president of the university writing a book when everybody's supposed to be in a gag order. You have Dateline receiving Brian Kohberger's phone. You have the judge calling the defense witness a conspiracy theorist. You have people putting in affidavits saying that this can we be heard so we can show you like what's been going on? Nope, you're a conspiracy theorist. I mean, we're not talking about one thing in this case. We're talking about both sides. Seeming like the defense wants to out all this bad acts. And then the prosecution wants to bury those acts, right? And they think that the way to go about it is to then, at the 11th hour, make a plea deal. But all the while, people that have been watching this case and other cases and paying attention to the documents and watching the official record and listening to the judge and listening to the lawyers, we the public, you guys have caused us to be concerned about what's going on in our government. Your acts during the past 2.5 years, you guys have induced panic. You guys have induced that we should be questioning. And you're throwing up affidavits from experts that are saying that, yep, and here, please let us talk so we can show you this, that in a quadruple homicide that we're going to go ahead and violate our, somebody's rights, which is anybody's rights. And then we're sealing everything. Hey, I'm not a speed reader. Miss Jim Morrison said, we'll be denied. It's never going to be just that it's okay to violate rights on violations on top of more violations. Is the hearing closed tomorrow? No, it's open. We'll be live streaming it. Young Black Economist says, 400 years, it gets slightly better in some aspects, but people have a mythological idea of how us so-called the U.S. so-called justice system works. More prisoners than any other place on the planet. Nick R says, what do we do until football season? I guess you are going to have lots of dates with your right hand. There is a difference between representing somebody, zealously versus reckless. And there's a difference between, prosecuting somebody recklessly and, zealously. In this case, it has just been an absolute, whatever happened to, if you are accusing somebody of something, it is either unfounded, okay, or there's merit there and then something happens because of it, right? There is no more accountability for just anything. For not even how like your job. Like people show up late to McDonald's, they get fired. People can't they burn their burgers, they get fired. Lucy says if BK speaks tomorrow, he might say he had no choice but to plead guilty, but he is innocent, that he can't have a fair trial with corruption going on. Or he might be saying that his counsel said that she can't represent him effectively if without, a continuation. Um, Brian Kohberger is going to be taking this plea deal. It's just a matter of if one day he decides to appeal his plea deal and he goes and says that it was due to ineffective assistance of counsel. That's what you're looking at. Brian Kohberger's family is going to be there. I believe all of these families are going to be going there. Brian Kohberger's family is flying in from Pennsylvania. Obsessive compulsive gamer. Lana, I watched yesterday's live today. Amazing point you made about the state not having to prove motive yet. The defense must to move forward on an alternate perpetrator theory. Yeah, it's absolute. There's just so many contradicting within the orders. I believe that Brian Kohberger has ineffective assistance of counsel just off of Judge Hippler's orders. I mean, his orders. You would think that Ann Taylor was, a 16-year-old teen pregnant mother, okay, and didn't even, she maybe has a GED. I think that Brian Kohberger could ride the coattails of Hippler's orders to show ineffective assistance of counsel. I'm just saying like how Hippler has seen it. Now we watch the hearing and we read the motions that are being filed. And then when you actually see then how Hippler takes it, it's night and day, right? Don Vito says, go to trial, Brian. You have nothing to lose. Life in prison is worse than death, in my opinion. Sarah says, Lana, I just emailed you. Let's see. James Patterson is going to have another bestseller. Actually, we're going to talk about this money thing. This not going to trial. I was actually writing a post for it. There's millions of dollars that was just like totally like buy. So the only people that made money here are the lawyers up to this point, if you ask me. If we ask ourselves, why wouldn't this plea deal happen, 2.5 years ago? Or how about this? Just 2 years ago or a year ago, at the 13th, 11th hour, 12th hour, on the 19th hole. Why now? Especially if you look back at all the stuff with the timing advance records, when Cyree puts in his affidavit, things of that nature, that, okay, hey, maybe now is the time to move on our, let's offer a plea deal because none of this stuff can come out. Why now? People can say, well, maybe we'll find out tomorrow that how this all transpired. I don't care if the defense went to the state, if the state went to the defense. We should be asking ourselves, why was it even in consideration? Even if the defense went to the state, why would the state even consider it? And then I started thinking about how divorce attorneys operate. And they milk you till there's no more milking left, until the hard work has to come, when you actually have to, like, oh God, we have to prepare for a trial, and I'm going to be on national television, and people are going to see the way that, asking questions, and we're going to be all looking like fools because none of us are truly prepared. So if we get this plea deal to happen, then we don't have to be on national television for 3 months looking like absolute fools. There's no doubt in my mind that I don't believe that either side was prepared for this trial. I mean, how can the defense actually cross-examine? I mean, they're going to cross-examine witnesses. They're going to be putting on their side of the case, but yet nobody has talked to them. They're not able to, get interviews because people are refusing. That doesn't make any sense. Jody says, as a society, we as a society should be scared to death at how our government can violate our rights and never pay for that. Well, I think it's twofold. I think it's twofold. I think that everything's all about, like, plea deals. And I wrote that in my letter to say that how can a plea deal in a capital punishment case be the symbol of true justice? I mean, there's a place and time for plea deals. This isn't one of those times. B. Williams says, please ask Chad if they still support Brian if pleads guilty. Questions for high school paper. Again, it says, for me, this has nothing to do about, at the end of the day, Brian was either going to be found guilty, innocent, or it was going to be a hung jury, right? Right. You put your family through all of this stuff. You're maintaining your innocence. The defense team's, zealously representing you, doing all of these things, filing all these motions, having motions to dismiss, filing motion limiting, then you're filing before that suppression, then you're doing Franks, the IGG. I mean, all of this stuff, like, it's change of venue. And all while you're filing all these things, I mean, serious accusations are coming out. Serious accusations. It's reckless. I mean, both sides. I mean, both sides. When I say serious accusations, to say that one person committed the crimes. and did it in like 7, 8 minutes. And 2 people were just completely unharmed. I mean, who's to say that Brian Kohberger didn't do it, but did he do it with somebody else? We, the people, have an interest in this case. Whenever corruption is at the forefront, we have, and Hippler even said that because of the allegations in this case, we're not going to have witnesses that aren't, you know, there's going to be as much transparent, it's transparent. He was going to allow Bethany and Dylan to be the only people that were going to be able to take that stand and not be video recorded, but we're going to hear them. This is a type of case that should not be allowed. You guys want to have a plea deal? Awesome, great. You want him to plead guilty to what? The facts of the case? He's not going to make a confession, and all we're going to have him say is yes to a couple questions and ask if, you talked to your lawyer about this. Did they explain this? Do you understand this? Do you understand this? Yes, yes, yes. I mean, is he going to stand there in silence? Realistically, we were all pissed. We all wanted a trial. That's why I think most of us think, yeah, I'm interested to hear how people are like, oh, Brian Kohberger is so guilty, right? Well, how do you feel it ending this way? Because Steve Gonsalves thinks that Brian Kohberger is so guilty, right? And he is irate that it ended this way. And I just want to know, like, from people's reasons why. Like, my reasons that this should be going to trial is because I don't believe that plea deals in murder cases should exist. If you sought out the death penalty, but in the beginning, the only reason you sought it out was to be able to use it as a leverage in getting a plea, you shouldn't be able to do that. You should not be able to do that. I think that needs to change. If you go out and seek the death penalty in a case and you're making a death penalty case, there are no 13th hour, 10th hour, 11th hour, 12th hour, whatever you want to call it, plea deals. You're seeking the death penalty because of the circumstances of the case. Nothing has changed over the past 3 years, that the circumstances have changed. Unless Brian Kohberger is the driver of the automobile, okay, and other people committed the murders, that could be some circumstances that have changed. But there's no circumstances that have changed that would merit for now you to think that you can negotiate the death penalty. That's not what you're supposed to use the death penalty for. That takes away the integrity of, how can you even stand by that the family should have to go the rest of their lives? Then the people that are interested in, like, okay, I live in that area, dude, I want to know what my cops are doing. I want to know what my prosecutor's doing. I want to know what the heck's going on around here. And now something that the defense was so gung-ho about exposing, now you're going to be part of burying it? If it was in your client's best interest to go about it that way for 2.5 years, how could it be in their best interest at the last second to say, I think it's in your best interest, even though you've been maintaining your innocence, for you to take a plea deal when you're basically getting nothing out of it? Bella says, my heart is breaking for the 4 beautiful souls who lost their life. It can't end this way. I don't think it's going to. When I say like end this way, I think it's not only because as soon as that gag order is lifted, people are talking. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Ray says, I keep thinking that this is another desperate ploy of the corruption or the corrupt prosecution, in my opinion, to sway any potential jurors. They're exceedingly evil. Um, Meatball says, Ann Taylor dropped counsel for Xana's mom when this happened, didn't she? Wasn't she representing Xana's mom? No, just the public defender's office was. She was just in charge of the public defender's office at the time, and so her name was on papers, but no, that's not true. I feel like we got a really good look at Idaho. Like, truly, this is exactly what happened in the Dan Moore case. At the last minute, his counsel saying that you're going to have to sign pieces of paper with us because it's our recommendation that you default judgment, and we're supposed to go to trial like in a couple weeks. What? You're going to sit here and tell me that you didn't even prepare one exhibit. You didn't do anything. You took money and then just gaslit. And so I look at that case and then you compare it to this case, and I've been saying it, that Steve Gonsalves was getting gaslit. The police, the prosecution, they just kept gaslighting. Meanwhile, the whole time, I believe that the people that knew that this case was never going to trial were people like the Chapins. Who now are in Boise and going to be there and to stand, in support of the plea deal. And the Chapins are part of the James Patterson book and the James Patterson, documentary. And then just before that, the Chapins came out on the mom was doing that Seattle Fox stuff. The Chapins are part of Sigma Chi, guys. The Chapins are big supporters of the University of Idaho. The Chapins came out right away in the beginning, early in the first parents to ever speak came out and said that this is not a drug. This is not drugs. These kids are good kids, and this is not a love triangle. And I remember when I heard that back for the first time, I'm like, who the heck is thinking that this case is a love triangle? What rumors? Who was putting that out there? You know what I mean? Love triangle with either what? And drugs. I'm going to read something that was sent, a couple different things, and then I'm going to show you guys some other stuff. Let's see. Okay. The Kohbergers came out through their lawyer on July 1st, 2025, a press release statement on behalf of the Kohbergers. In light of recent developments, the Kohbergers are asking members of the media for privacy, respect, and responsible judgment during this time. We will continue to allow the legal process to unfold with respect to all parties, and we will not release any comments or take any questions. We ask that you respect our wishes during a difficult time for all of those affected. That came out through the Kohberger's attorneys. Then, okay. The Gonsalves family wanted to clarify a couple things. So, as far as their page goes, I would like to clarify a couple things. We did talk to the prosecutor on Friday about the possibility of a plea deal, and it was a hard no from our family. It was very nonchalant and barely discussed, as the majority of the conversation was surrounding the upcoming trial. Nothing, in all caps, nothing in our conversation prepared us for the next steps. Sunday night, we received an email that sent us scrambling. We immediately jumped into panic mode and started making phone calls and sending emails. We met with the prosecution again today to reiterate our views on pushing for the death penalty. Unfortunately, all of our efforts did not matter. We did our best. We fought harder than anyone could ever imagine. Please do not argue or try to tell us that we should have done this or that. We gave it 200% for the last 2 years and 7 months. One day we will tell you all what we have really been through from day one. I'm really actually looking forward to that, because I've believed all along that Steve had to act like he supported the police because in the prosecution, because he had no choice. That's their last, like, you have to believe in them and you have to, like, kiss their ass, do all this stuff so that they follow through, because Idaho is wheeling and dealing, plea dealing and wheeling, man. You will all be shocked at what they've been through. We fought a long battle, but we lost the war. We did gain an army of love that we know will always stand by us. We have we have so much love for each and every one of you. You all have given us strength when we felt like we couldn't take another step. Okay. Next one. We have had so many people reach out to offer support, love, encouragement, and console us, offering their own experiences through navigating the justice system. We have also had so many people asking how they can help. We stand strong that it is not over until a plea is accepted. We will not stop fighting for the life that was stolen unjustly. If you feel called or moved to try to make a difference, please contact the Ada County Courthouse to express your thoughts or feelings. While we are cognizant that some may have wanted the plea, the prosecution relayed to us it was not a majority vote that was the deciding factor in offering this plea. And that everybody should be asking that question, which is, why did you offer it? Why are you dealing with the devil like that? If Brian Kohberger did this, I mean, whoever did this, and if he did do this, why would you ever send a message? Okay, remember this Idaho don't play around. We got the firing squad. Well, I have something to say about that. Firing squad my ass, like incel my ass, firing squad my ass. Idaho is all talk. All talk. All talk. Well, okay. At a bare minimum, please require a full confession, full accountability, location of the murder weapon, confirmation the defendant acted alone, and the true facts of what happened that night. We deserve to know when the beginning of the end was. Do you understand that by writing that, that means that you don't know, and we don't know these things. Idaho, I like that one. Where do you live? Idaho. Think about this. At a bare minimum, please require a full confession, full accountability, location of the murder weapon, confirmation that the defendant acted alone. They want confirmation of that. And the true facts of what happened that night. We deserve to know when the beginning of the end was. Why you don't believe the state that it was the beginning of the end was at 4 a.m., 4:15, 4:10? I mean, I wouldn't be writing those. If I'm thinking that, that means I'm not confident or, yeah, I mean, this is what you guys told me, but I don't know if I can believe it. I do understand, he says, these answers may not have been given through trial, but that should be the minimum price to pay for his own life. And they are not wrong for that. They're not wrong for that. That's exactly, if you want me to spare your life, what is the state getting in return? What are the citizens of Idaho, of the United States, of Moscow that are living in that town, still going to school there? Where's the murder weapon? Tell us where the murder weapon is. If you're gonna, because that's the whole thing, is Brian Kohberger is not pleading guilty. He's pleading guilty to the facts that they're going to say that this is what happened. He's not confessing. That's not what's going to happen tomorrow. And that's not what's going to happen at the sentencing, whether it's 2 or 3 weeks later. And he will have all the way up until the sentencing is imposed of, if they're trying to do all of that tomorrow, that's not what's happening from my understanding. How are you going to sit here and say that my kids' lives and the three other kids' lives are only worth him saying, "Yep, sure, I'll take a plea," and nothing else, when you could get so much more out of it? Like, I want to hear this press conference when the prosecution gets up on a podium and they say, like, there's no more gags, so go ahead. This is your chance. You've been gagged for 2.5 years, right? And then, but who's going to believe it? Who's going to believe any press conference coming out of the mouth of Ashley Jennings or Bill Thompson or Josh or Bill Nye the Science Guy? Who's going to believe any of that? You'd be lying to yourself if you said that you would believe it. I don't even know that answer. Chief Fry, by the way, just took a double dipping. He's double dipping. This is what they do. He's double dipping, and now he is the police chief in East Washington at like Richland or some crap. Like what? They want to know when the beginning of the end was. If you really think that that white car has something to do with the murders, then why wouldn't you think that people couldn't have been dropped off and that somebody is keep coming back and, picking people up, dropping people off somewhere, then coming back, picking more people up? Why wouldn't the white car actually be the getaway or the lookout? Why would you ever think that this was only one person? What if Brian Kohberger comes out and he says, I know you all lied about it. I did it, right? And I know that those two girls were not in that house because they'd be dead too. I went to every bedroom. Then don't you think a bunch of door like chins would drop? Again, Steve says that it is not over until it is over. We still have time to fight for a chance to heal. If you feel called or led, please contact those responsible for the decisions being made. Please learn from some of my own mistakes and lead with kindness and respect. Try to separate something that is so intertwined with emotions and be logical. That's like my favorite word is logic. None of this is logical. The only people that are benefiting from this plea deal is the lawyers of the defense team and the lawyers on the prosecution's team. That's it. I don't believe that either one of them are prepared for trial and that they were going to look foolish. That's what I believe. That's what looks logical to me. It's illogical that the Linda Lane footage would be missing from 4:30. I'm sorry, from 3:30 to 4:06. And that's what would connect to show you that the 401 Ridge Road car is in fact the car that left at 3:58. Because it's going to show you from Linda Lane dumpster, you're going to see a car coming across Taylor and going towards Ridge Road from like the west to the east going along Taylor. Without that there, and I don't believe that it is there. In fact, I know it's not there. That Ridge Road vehicle is 100% not the same vehicle. And when Jay and Ann Taylor said they knew this, and then they hid it. They hid the Linda Lane camera footage because then they could then claim that it was because that piece of material is not there to show that it's not. There's so much wrong with that. That means that that's not the car that they knew that. So then whose car is it? I believe that if Brian Kohberger did this, there's a chance that he didn't do it alone, and I don't believe that he drove his own vehicle there. I believe that that vehicle would have turned up something. Who would drive their own vehicle that's supposedly taking, basically, hey, turn me in your resume and what you did and how you got caught so that I don't make these mistakes. Mark Garagos says that the defense got nothing out of this deal. Why would you take it? I know, Heather, right? Brian's car was definitely not involved. I mean, when you put down on a like a whiteboard and you put, okay, here, let's compare and contrast. What does the state have against Brian Kohberger, and can it be easily blown up by the defense? And it's like yes, 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 yes. Everything's yes, yeses, yeses. That Ann Taylor's never gonna be able to tell us the advice that she gave her client. That's client attorney privilege, okay? Unless Brian Kohberger ever comes out and says ineffective assistance of counsel. So I believe that the state was always going to be offering this, that this was always going to be their last minute end game, because, and they would only use it once it got to a point where, like, they had no choice but to use it. Um, because there's certain things that if this goes to trial, then things come out. The only way that we can prevent things from not coming out if there is no trial. Um, and so I think that in bad faith, they gaslit the families, mainly the Gonsalves family that was all about, the death penalty, and literally told them everything that they wanted to hear for 2.5 years. And then did them so dirty. And if you don't believe me, go back and listen to my episodes. Was was clear about it. I told Steve that this was happening. So like we all know that the prosecution was telling um, Steve this. So the people that are supportive of Brian Kohberger being guilty before seeing any trial evidence come out, then they should have a huge problem with this. They should have a huge problem with somebody as sick as Brian Kohberger being given a plea deal and doesn't have to. I mean, yep, sure. Those are the facts that I'm saying guilty to, and I'm going to waive my right to an appeal, but I can go ahead and claim ineffective assistance of counsel, and that's going to be a way that I can actually get out of it down the road. Let's see what else you guys are saying out there. LG12 says, I'm pretty pissed. Who is not kissed and happy about this is in the chat. I think you meant pissed, but that's funny. Who is not kissed about this? I think for Bethany and Dylan, I mean, why would the state allow Bethany and Dylan to be literally abused left and right? When they could have ended this way earlier and saved those girls from like circumstantial things being twisted to make it seem like that they're doing stuff that makes, oh my god, you deleted this, or oh my god, you had this contact, and like, none of that would have, what, you didn't protect any victims. You let these girls get fucking manhandled. The facts remains that 911 was, called, 9 hours, yeah. I mean, these are all reasons that there should not be allowed to be a plea deal. Mark Garagos was like, this is a circumstantial case. I could not agree more. It's illogical that the defense would ever take this plea deal. Why would you ever take this plea deal? There's a chance, a high chance that the death penalty, okay, that they're not going to be executing anybody in Idaho due to the fact of X, Y, and Z. You have all these avenues to appeal. And if there's ever a case that would require the death penalty, sure, here. But if there's also any case out there that, holy crap, you have so many grounds to literally earn this appeal because your rights were violated, it's this case. So for me, I think that America's getting a nice a beautiful, beautiful front row seat at truly how they do things in Idaho. Because I think people had a hard time believing me when I'm saying, like, listen, man, you're not going to believe what happened in this Dr. Moore, Dr. Drake case. Okay. And the amount of money that these lawyers took from the Moores and then withdrew on them and then tried to withdraw again, these new people, and then said, listen, you're going to default judge because we're not taking this to trial because if you want us to, we're going to be doing this our way and we're not going to be calling anybody like that to the stand. They're irrelevant. I mean, how is Eldora Gatchel irrelevant? Are you kidding me? She was the final patient. She lied to the police. It's all right there on the bot. It's all right there on the cameras. We're going to do it our way. Like, who do these people think that they are in Idaho? And they all work together. The defense attorneys are like dry humping the prosecutors and the police. They all work together. There is no such thing as like, dude, that's my defense attorney and they have my back. They have my right. They have my back. Like, I have full trust that, dude, these people are solid character humans. Okay. No. They're liars, man. And they just lie in front of you. Like, they just lie to you, even though I'm like, dude, I just recorded everything. You just made up an interview that you never had and told your client that you had this interview with a witness with your PI that never took place. After you just took like $200K cash. You know, I thought that people with no money got treated like shit. Well, in Idaho, you just get lied to. If you have money, like, you got to be part of like they want to have dirt on you. They love to muddy up your, and then it's like, yep, there we go. Now we got them. Now they're gonna do what we want. I truly have never seen anything like it, and every time that Steve says, you know, we love Idaho, I'm like, God, that breaks my heart because you know, me and Steve talked one of the last times that we talked, and he was really excited to get Joshua on the case, and he was like somebody that believes the death penalty, and they're going to fight for, and they're like going to do the right things, and we have like this amazing now face of the case and knows what they're doing, and this is our leadership, right? Because Jennings and Bill Thompson are just a joke, right? And I'm just thinking, wow, they've just totally lied to this man. Totally lied to him. His daughter was just murdered, and you're just going to lie to this man? Like, just lying to their face. I would rather have you say nothing to me. Don't say anything to me than lie to me. Like, I think those people over there, they deserve to go into a rink or into a ring and, like, let's go, put on some boxing gloves. Like, I'm ready to beat the fucking ass. Because how damn dare you? Who do you think you are? And that's why when he was saying that yesterday, I was like, exactly. Who does this 70-year-old man, old man, he gets to decide what these kids' life is worth? Who are you, man? When he wanted to talk about Bill Thompson's wrinkly sack, I'm loving that shit. I hope that they've taken really good notes and recorded shit, because I said, okay, so if I'm Steve, why don't I just do a wrongful death suit after this, and I, you know, We file against Brian, and then we'll get a ton of our answers through a civil process, right? So then I thought about that, because it's a civil case, but I said, why can't they sue the Latah County for distress? You've caused me and my family all of this, like your actions knowingly that you were lying to us and that you never had any intentions of following through with any of this. You put us through 2.5 years, like mental distress. Can't we sue them for that? Can't we sue them for that they didn't handle the case right, and therefore they had a plea deal with Brian Kohberger? I mean, can't there be some type of way? Because that's who they need to sue. I've been saying this since day one, man. You need to sue the shit out of Latah County. They botched the investigation, and therefore they couldn't prosecute him the correct way. I mean, that's the truth. And then for some reason, Ann Taylor advised her client to take a plea deal. Again, at the 11th hour. I think Ann Taylor, I just want to know what her thought process was, is that how that would be your client's best bet. I think we should all start a class action. They've called us all. It is. Advising the plea deal, in my opinion, is ineffective assistance of counsel. Having the preliminary hearing 6 months later and agreeing to that, that's ineffective. That's ineffective assistance of counsel. That was absolute. That's boom. Oh, Salty, thank you. Lana, you're so awesome and gifted. Thank you for covering this for so long. You've been my number one go-to. Oh, well, thank you back. Thank you. You are appreciated too. Did BK have a nervous breakdown? I don't know. He's always seemed pretty calm and still to me. Kid hasn't said a word. I think it's going to be interesting to actually see him speak. We haven't seen that boy speak in 2.5 years. He's just sat there. Dr. Ramslin just called him guilty in an interview with Enton. Well, yeah, I mean, anybody that's going to plead guilty after 2.5 years of, Silver Fox says Ann Taylor gave up on the challenge. I don't know. Something happened though. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she came across something on the Discovery and she said, Brian, these are the things that we came across, and they have these things, and this is going to come out at trial. And these are things that I don't know if we can come, I didn't know if they existed. Okay. So because of this stuff, I don't trust the prosecution. I don't trust this judge. You're not getting a fair shake. I can't knowingly represent you in a capital case, and I can't gamble with your life, Brian. I can't do that. The state is trying to kill you, Brian. So I know that if we take this deal, they can't kill you. They cannot kill you. But maybe over the next couple of years, you and your family can go through this discovery, and maybe we can come across some stuff that's there that we have to find that would exonerate you or whatever. And you could blame me for ineffective assistance counsel. Because just go ahead and look at Hippler's orders. I mean, he basically says I'm a 2-year-old representing you. Who knows? I didn't. When you look back at this whole picture of the past 2.5 years, what has transpired to me is dirty. This isn't how the justice system is supposed to be. You're supposed to have integrity. But nothing's happening. Lawyers aren't. Take these people to the bar. These people. There needs to be complaints filed against these people. And this isn't just in Idaho. There's 3 or 4 lawyers that I'm going to file in 2 other states. I'm filing bar complaints against these people because I have proof what the fuck they did. And it's like, but go try to find an attorney that's going to, hey, no lawyer is going to go and take you on and go sue another lawyer. You know how hard that is? It shouldn't be hard, though. Why is that hard? Because they take, hey, man, we all went to law school here. We all took all of our money, and we're in such bad, look at all the debt we had to take on. It's like that bro code. Fuck that. That's ridiculous. Lawyers are no better, no smarter, no nothing. You're just dumb that you paid all that fucking money to go to school, and now you're pissed when a pro se litigant comes up on your ass and shoves it up your ass. That's just me. I'm just talking about my own case over here. I'm just sticking up Ohio attorneys' asses over here. I'm not part of the good old girls and boys club because I don't have a $150,000 student loan. Ridiculous. I think judges need to stop thinking that they're an arm of the prosecution. Can we get some judges that were defense attorneys? Maybe that would change things. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. So Brian Kohberger, in a sense, jerked everybody around for 2.5 years in the states. Like, yeah, here, let's give some guy that just jerked us around a plea deal because we're going to save his life, even though he didn't try to save any of those 4 victims' lives, right? Oxymoron. That's such an oxymoron. You guys decided to go for the death penalty. And that's when Ann Taylor was arguing it perfectly. Why didn't you tell your families over here, hey, we go for the death penalty like you want us to? We're going to be doing this for a long time and not just the trial, because that man is going to have appeal after an appeal after an appeal. Are you sure this is what we want to do? I'm just saying my boy Brian played them because Hippler didn't want to drop the deuce, so they played the prosecutor by Seeing them say shows that the defense has the win for trial. That wasn't even his damn car. I just think that that's ridiculous. I think if I was on the jury, just like they did in the Karen Reed case, you'd be expecting, okay, there's all this. Oh wait, those are the injuries on John O'Keefe, and you want me to say that he got hit by a car? Oh wait, there's no DNA, nothing, no trace evidence, no nothing in that car. But you want me to say that that man stabbed 4 people? How many times each? I mean, not to be sick or anything, but like I know Idaho, they suck at crime scene like they suck. They're horrible. I want to see the crime scene photos because not because, oh yeah, let's like, no, I want to see where the blood is. I want to see the mixtures. I want to see what evidence they swabbed and what evidence they didn't swab. What evidence they thought was important versus what they didn't think was important. I wanted to hear how 120 agents or police officers all came together to work as a unit to literally take down with awesome policing and decision making that they were able to, because I don't believe that this person should have been caught, but here they were able to catch somebody that truly shouldn't have been caught. And they should be proud of their efforts, and they should show that off in a trial. And by showing that, to think twice about that, you're going to come after people because we're going to nail you. We're going to find out who you are. That's also a part of the whole criminal justice system is we don't want people acting like this. So what do? Yeah. Harsh punishments, right? Like so that nobody would think that they could ever do this. Brandy Joe, good question. I mean, we've been talking about it. Why would Ann Taylor have been trying to show what she has on the 4 alternate perpetrators if this was planned? If I'm saying it was planned from the state standpoint, that they were going to always play this card of we'll take the death penalty off the table if you pleaded blah blah blah. And Taylor was trying to get it so that Hippler would take the death penalty off the table because then you're going forward in a trial, right? Because the end result is what he just pled to. So you would just go forward with the trial because the worst case scenario is that you're doing life in prison without the possibility of parole. So like and I think in a weird way, did Judge Hippler tip off the prosecution by saying, have you guys done any pleas yet? Has there been any pleas yet? I mean, like, more or less, like, this is going to be your last opportunity to do that because we're getting closer and closer to when I am going to pull the death penalty off the table. Don't you think the death penalty should have come off the table right when Dateline happened? That's what immediately should have had the death penalty coming off the table. And that's where I just think people would have, like, I don't know, Brian twisted. If he was truly trying to get away with this, there's a chance that he would have going through this trial. And what I mean by getting away with this is if he's guilty, there's a chance that he could walk. There is that chance. And there's that chance because the case isn't as strong as what it's all been caked up to be thanks to mainstream media. Genuine said, now it makes sense why 18 or Brian were on Zoom for the witness hearing in Pennsylvania. So I made a little list here. I wanted to end my live with something funny because that's what I do. So I have a list that says the people that are celebrating due to um, the plea deal, and then the people that are still in a frozen shock state, and then the people that are not celebrating. And so the first column is the people that are celebrating with a Borg. Again, then you have the people that are in a frozen shock state, and then the people that aren't celebrating. So who would you believe would be in your column of who would be celebrating with a Borg? Well, give it up for none other than Ashley Jennings, Bill Thompson, Nick Balance, um, Josh, the Chapins, the Mogans, Molly Gray. Josie's on a vacation far away. Um, who else I have over here on my list? Maury Payne, Truly's for the win. The University of Idaho, Coomer Scott Green. Then we're going to go to the Frozen Shock State still. Bethany, Murphy, Dylan, Molly McMichael. The people that are Sigma Chi celebrating, Pies are celebrating, people that are not celebrating, the G's. Um, the criminals. Student Dean of Students Eccles. Um, the leaker or leakers. Dateline. That would be Morrison and Shane Bishop. They're like, oh fuck, we're still on the hook. Waitall County is going to be having a special 4th of July celebration. And they're going to be featuring Bill Thompson and the Mollies, the backup dancers. So the Mollies. Instead of having face painting this year, they are going to be doing eyebrow painting. It is red, white, and bust. That is the theme this year. The Moscow Police Department is signing autographs, and they'll be signing autographs on top of Brian Kohberger's new mugshot. They will have a free dunk tank, and that is Molly McMichael will be Dunk the Molly, not the Dolly, but Dunk the Molly. So Molly will be on the dunk tank. The grub truck will be there. Jack in the Box. They have a grand prize for one of the raffles, a 2011 to 2016 stock image white Elantra. They are offering buy two, get one vans. Shit. 2011, 2016, White Elantra float again. And then last but not least, the main attraction is we have one of our prosecutors in-house performing one of her yearly magic shows. Ashley Jennings magically makes the death penalty disappear. So make sure you guys get out for that 8 o'clock show. Ashley Jennings magic show. She is going to show how she can make a death penalty disappear. Oh, and last but not least, I did forget this part. We do have K-Bar is sponsoring not the axe throwing competition this year, but we do have a K-Bar knife throwing competition. Yeah. So if you can't take my humor, then go cry in the corner. Fuck it. Shout out to Brandon. Thank you so much. Always here for some amount of time. Thank you. All of your hard work you putting in. Thankful to being here and you always doing in you Plea. Thanks, Brandon. Play on Plea. Love it. Andrea Clark, $4.99. Thank you, Lana, for your continuous coverage and all the time and research you put into this case to keep us informed and educated. And there's still so much more. I'm going to do everything I can to get my hands on as much as a discovery as I possibly can. And I'm going to bring you as many interviews as I possibly can. B. Williams, please ask Chad if they still support Brian. Okay, we were talking about that one. Indigo, we may have one ace up our sleeve just yet. We just need to gather the evidence of prosecutorial misconduct. Easy. That can come later. Phillips, where is Pavarotti? Why hasn't he made a video? I don't know. I'm not Pavarotti, but I do have my Scully beanie on in this photo. Birdie, what's good? This case feels like a governmental psyop written by drunk interns. Yeah, I just think they're about. I think everybody's getting the reality. This is Idaho. This is the reality of it. I shit you not, guys. This is so par the course of them. Like you don't understand. It's. Nobody wants to go against the cops in the area. They will fuck with you. Yeah. Mama Hen, Lana, you need to get Scott Roeder, Cyre, and Vargas on here after the gag order. I'm sure Cyre will pop on. Janet, 5-month member. Defense attorney told me that 20 years ago, part of same hand. Huh? I'm going to need you to come again. Shelly says, I so appreciate your channel, Anna. I appreciate when I get slap happy, and I'm about to be slap happy. So this is when I get crazy. Thank you there, Shelly. Is that Lish? Lish, what's up, Bish? BK undercover. I don't believe that Brian Kohberger is undercover. I just believe that they violated our rights to possibly arrest the right person, and they don't want to let the right person, free on a technicality, right? But I don't believe in violating our rights for any cost for anything, because when you fall into that, that's when people that are truly innocent, when you think that you can just make up evidence that's not there to railroad somebody because you believe that they're guilty. You are like, who are you to do that? You don't get to do that. And when you just think that you can do that, and they were doing that while all eyes were on them, America was watching that case from the moment that they were found dead. Like, dude, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. That's power that, man. Oh, yes. Silent G says, all the trolls have already gotten new assignments. Is that right? Yeah, so this case is not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm talking about like this case is not going anywhere for years, you guys. Years. If people think that this plea deal is going to make this case go away, holy shit, do they have anything coming? That's the last thing. Okay? That's the last thing that's going to happen. You've just created more questions. That's all. Happy Hound says, Lana, you always have the ability to make me crack a smile, even under the most dire circumstances. Thank you. And all of your up the asses remarks. You like that when I tell people, you fucking take that and shove it straight up your ass. Or I'll be happy to do it for you. I personally like telling people to go fuck themselves. And make sure they take a picture and send it to me. This case will go away like a fart in the wind. The grift is up. LJ, you do know that's not accurate, right? I was planning on talking about this case for the next 3 months for a trial. I'm going to continue to talk about it for 3 months because I've been saving so much stuff. I have so much crap that I have stockpiled so that I could bring the best coverage on the nightly talks after like the day of trial. Then I was going to be a nightly recap. So I had started on this like months ago to prepare for putting my stuff in order, because obviously how they're going to tell the story if the prosecution's like putting on their case. And I was going to be, doing the night recap show after like obviously the stream would happen, and then those that can't watch the stream and can't be they want to get the recap of what happened. So dude, I put in a lot of hours to prep for that. Because you ain't gonna get that shit from mainstream media, baby. So yeah, we're still gonna put it out there. Bro, take the link. Bro could confess and give a minute by minute breakdown in y'all stream conspiracy. Who would? I wouldn't. I would love for that. Wouldn't you love for him to have to hey, we want proof that it's really you, that and not some plea deal that you're going to take here to then go ahead and claim ineffective assistance of counsel in the next year or 6 months, and so here, you want this plea deal? Tell us where the knife is. Tell us where the knife is, and we'll give you the plea deal. Who knows? Maybe that was the first offer of the plea deal, and they were able to negotiate it down to like, no, all he'll do is he'll plead guilty to the just the facts of it. He's not going to confess. So there's no conspiracy. There ain't no fucking conspiracy here. These are crooked ass people that are not good character and in power positions, pulling shady ass shit. Conspiracy? Who the fuck no? When you soil your foundation of your work and you don't have a solid methodology in how you're going about your investigation will be shit. And that's what happened in this case. For heaven's sakes, they only took scans of the 2 rooms where the victims were. They didn't think that it was important to get scans of the rest of the house. How dumb can you be? That's dumb shit, man. It's dumb. They brought in the damn ISP, like crime, like this is what y'all do for a living. Like we weren't asking like the Moscow people to do this shit. We brought in a team of like, this is what you're supposed to do. Like this is what you do for a living. I wanted to see the shit show because I know it was going to be a shit show. And now they've hidden the shit show from us. Vicky, you blocked my message, didn't you? What a bitch. Vicky, The last thing I have time for is the block messages, especially when you are so powerful with saying bitch. I enjoy that type of language. I highlight that shit. I don't run. I face everybody tits on, girl. We see you. Vicky. Come on, Vicky. Girl, we love you. She's like, oh, thank God. I'm here. Hey, guys, I'm here. Oh, shit. Vicky, where are you? Vicky, fucking bright again. Girl, so I can highlight that shit. Boo. Uh, I'm ready. I'm so ready to get some more noise complaints going. Uh, all right, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining. You guys rock. Come back. Join us back tomorrow morning. We're going to be rolling live. We're streaming. We're streaming it all. And there's going to be mass media down there. They're probably going to be, rolling film. There's a photographer that's going to be in the courtroom. One person is taking still photos that then we can all get, it's the pole camera. They're using their YouTube channel to stream it. But outside, I think there's going to be tons of cameras. And I think that they're going to put cameras in people's faces. I'm curious to see when the judge says that the gag order is lifted. It's going to be, I think it should be fucking lifted tomorrow. The sentencing is on Hippler. He's not going to change his mind due to, extrajudicial statements made by anybody. Maybe what's going to be also said tomorrow is maybe we'll hear a little bit something about the leak. That they found out who the leak was, and maybe this whole thing came down because we found out the leak was on our side, the prosecution side. So we felt compelled then to offer a plea deal, and we took the death penalty off. Maybe they're going to hide behind that as the reason that they offered the plea deal. Are we going to have a press? Like, when are we going to get the first press conference? Again, the gag would have to be lifted. When are we going to have the first press conference? I cannot wait to see. I want to ask Ashley Jennings a question. I want to raise my hand and her to point and say yes in the front. Oh, hi, Miss Jennings. This is Truth and Transparency. Curious, do you think that your job is still secure? And are you going to be running for Bill Thompson's position? Like, are you going to be now in charge? Is Bill heading off on retirement? Are you guys having a party for Bill? Are we able to attend that? What kind of gifts are you going to consider getting some Bill? We are, if you want some midget strippers, we are definitely up for tossing on that. So let us know. Do you think that you guys did a really good job, getting this plea deal and the justice was served? Oh, last question here I got for you, Ashley. Where's the Linda Lane footage from 3:30 to 4:06? Did you guys have that in evidence? Were you guys scared about that? That you couldn't connect the vehicle to the Ridge Road camera? That it was a different vehicle? If you were so confident in your case, then why would you ever offer a man that committed 4 brutal stabbings a plea deal? Okay, have a good night. Thanks so much for answering my questions, Ashley. I really appreciate you. Alrighty, guys. Peace out. Hit your thumbs up or down on the way out. I will never tell you how to think, how to feel. Thank you, moderators, members, subscribers, lurkers. Peace. See you in the morning, bright and early. We are tailgating. Bring a drink. Bring 5. Bring some friends. We're playing Power Hour. Every minute for 60 minutes, we are taking a shot of beer. It's going to take you 2.5 beers to get through it. Maybe 3. Depends how big your gulps are. Borgen time, baby. Borgen. I'll allow it. Good night.